It started as just another email, a fan-made tribute video. No big deal. Curry gets hundreds like that every month. But this one? It came through his personal inbox, not the team, not his agent. The subject line just read, "Please watch until the end." The video opened like any other highlight reel. Clips of buzzer beaters, crowd roars, his signature tunnel shot, inspirational music swelling underneath. Steven smiled, nodded at a few plays, even chuckled at the over-the-top narration. This man isn't just a shooter, he's a system. But then, at 3 minutes and 44 seconds, everything changed. The screen glitched, music cut out, the footage shifted, and suddenly, he saw a security camera feed, a hallway, a boy, maybe 12 years old, skinny, nervous, wearing a Warriors hoodie, and behind him, a door slowly opening. Steven paused the video, rewound, watched again. What the hell is this? He didn't remember this clip, didn't recognize the hallway, didn't know the kid. But then, the camera panned, and in the background, through the cracked door, he saw something he never expected. Himself. He was sitting on a bench, headphones on, sweat dripping from a pre-game warm-up, completely unaware, completely unguarded. And he was crying. Steven sat back in his chair, frozen, silent. The video kept playing, but he didn't hear it anymore. His own face on the screen, so raw, so real. He barely remembered that night, but the emotion that he remembered, it was 2011, before the championships, before the MVP chants, before the world believed in him. He was injured, again. Second ankle sprain in 3 weeks. Coach didn't say it, but he saw it in his eyes. We're not sure this kid's gonna last. Steven was breaking, not just physically, mentally, emotionally. And now, he was watching that moment through a stranger's lens. He opened the video file, checked its metadata. Anonymous uploader, VPN masked IP. Whoever sent this didn't want to be found, but they wanted him to see it. He paused the video, scrubbed through again, looked at the hallway, the angles. That wasn't a public camera. That was team facility security, meaning someone close had access. He remembered who had access to that camera room: a few trainers, a PR guy, and one intern, a kid named Devin Lake, 17 at the time. Quiet, kept to himself, used to run camera feeds and highlight reels. Then one day, he was gone. No warning, no farewell, just stopped showing up. Steven hadn't thought about Devin in over a decade, until now. He searched his name online. Nothing recent. Old Instagram, locked. LinkedIn last updated in 2014. Then silence, until a tagged photo on a forgotten charity blog. Devin Lake, program coordinator, giving second chances through sports, posted just 2 weeks ago. Steven stared at the screen. Was this his way of reaching out, or something else entirely? Steven whispered to himself, "Devin, why now?" And more importantly, what else was in that video? Steven didn't go through his agent or his manager. He booked a flight quietly, just a carry-on bag and a single address written on hotel stationery. Second Shot Youth Center, Oakland, CA. That's where Devin was. At least, that's what the blog said. When he got there, the building didn't look like much. A half-faded sign, cracked concrete, but inside, energy. Kids dribbling, laughing, working. Steven stayed outside the doors for a moment, just watching, until someone tapped his shoulder. "You really came?" Stephen turned. There he was, older, taller, but unmistakably Devon. He wore a plain black hoodie, clipboard in hand, and a smirk that tried to hide something deeper. Wasn't sure you'd watch all the way to the end. Stephen blinked. You sent that? Devon nodded. Took me a while to decide. Thought maybe you'd forgotten. Stephen's voice dropped. I didn't forget. I just never knew you were there. Devon invited him in. No press, no kids allowed in the office, just 2 chairs and an old TV. He inserted a flash drive. That clip you saw? That wasn't all of it. The video started playing. Curry's younger self, sitting, crying. But then, the camera didn't stop. It zoomed in, shakily, like someone behind the monitor had their hand on the controls. Then a voice, barely audible, Devon's. Don't worry, man. You don't know me, but I know you'll get up, because if you don't, then I won't. Stephen froze. He had never heard it before. I recorded that after my 3rd night sleeping in the team basement, Devon said. I wasn't supposed to be there. I'd lied on the internship form. Didn't have a home, didn't have parents, just needed somewhere with heat and cameras. But I saw you, he continued, and if you could fall apart and still lace up, I figured maybe I could get through that week. I never meant to keep it, but I kept watching it every time I wanted to quit. Stephen swallowed hard. So why send it now? Devon stood up, walked over to the window. Because they need it now. He pointed outside, at the court. The kids. They don't know you as the guy who almost quit, just the one who always wins. They need to know the truth, that sometimes strength looks like that hallway, not the highlights. Stephen leaned back. For the first time in a long time, he didn't know what to say. Stephen didn't leave right away. He stayed, watched, talked, not as an MVP, not as a legend, but as someone who once sat alone in a hallway, unsure he'd ever get up. Stephen flew home with the flash drive in his pocket, not for security, but because it felt like a part of him now. He thought about what Devon said, about the kids, about the truth, about what strength really looks like. 2 weeks later, during a scheduled press event, Stephen walked into the room differently. There were reporters, cameras, brand banners behind him, the usual. But when the first question came in, he paused, then said, I want to show you something first. He plugged in the drive, played the clip, no cuts, no music, just the hallway, his tears, the voice, the truth. The room went silent. He stood there after it ended, then simply said, that was me in 2011, in pain, in doubt, and completely unaware that someone was watching. Not to exploit me, but to survive. We think strength is noise, but sometimes it's the quietest moment that keeps someone going. He didn't take any more questions that day. He just walked out. That night, Devon received a package. Inside, a pair of signed sneakers, a handwritten note. You recorded that to remind yourself to get up. Now you've helped thousands do the same. Steph, he smiled, but didn't post about it, didn't share it. Because some moments aren't meant to go viral. They're meant to stay true. 1 week later, Curry launched a new initiative. Not flashy, no major sponsors, just a simple title, Quiet Strength. Video journals from athletes, unfiltered, raw, shared with youth programs across the country. And the first video wasn't his, it was Devon's. As the campaign grew, other athletes joined. Not to talk about trophies, but to talk about nights they almost gave up. And kids listened, because it wasn't polished, it was real. And every once in a while, Stephen would sit alone, plug in the drive, and rewatch that moment, not to relive the pain, but to remember that strength sometimes looks like a kid crying in a hallway being watched by another kid who just needed someone else to keep going. He thought he was being watched at his weakest, but what he didn't know is that someone else found their strength in his breakdown. And that's how hope works, one moment at a time. Even when no one's watching, someone is. Like this video. Comment. Have you ever seen someone fall, and that helped you rise? Subscribe to Yrot Stories for more emotional and powerful stories from real hearts. Thanks for watching. As always, see you tomorrow with a new video.